Hey, my friend, it's George Carroll, author of The Homeless Motivational Speaker, and the target of this 126-day program is simple. I'm taking 50 people, and maybe you're one of them, I don't know. I'm taking 50 people and saying, hey, let's publish a book in 126 days. Now, you might be thinking 126 days, that's a long time. Or, I don't know, maybe you're thinking 126 days, that's not enough time. Well, we definitely can't force the creation process, and we can't force a rose to bloom. But what I do know is this: one of the biggest reasons why people don't write their book is because, number one, they don't have any structure to it, and number two, they don't have any accountability. So there's a lot of different excuses that people use, but what I'm looking for and who I'm looking for are 50 people. 50 people, is that 50 or 50 or 50? 50 people who are leaning in to already writing their book. It's like the book sort of has been calling you, it's been nudging you, it's been saying, hey, write me already. And that's how my book hit me. In fact, I was talking to one of my mentors at the end of last year, and I said, God, I got to find a title for my book. She's like, brother, you don't need a title, just let it flow through you. Because I'd known that this book wanted to come through me, but it was just a matter of letting go of it needing a title and allow it to flow through me. And by 3 weeks into writing, my first draft was done. So I know it can be done, and I know you can do it. And if you're at that point in time where you're an aspiring first-time author, where you know there's a book in you, you know there's something that wants to be communicated through you and into the world, then this is the program for you. This is specifically designed and specifically focused for aspiring first-time authors. I've been on the phone with different specialists in the book writing industry, like publishing experts and editing experts and book cover design experts. And this 126 days is going to be really a mastermind container that invites you to step into the bigger version of you that your book will help create. And somebody asked me, they said, how does it feel to be a published author? And I had to think about the question, but a few seconds later, it hit me. It was like, it feels like I've stepped into a bigger version of me. And they started laughing because they're also a published author, and they said, that's exactly what it feels like. And really, it was simple. I made a decision. And once you make that decision, you say, I'm committed to making this book real now, then you start writing and a different version of you starts to show up, a more committed version of you, a more consistent version of you. And that's what happened for me. I opened up my computer every single day for 3 weeks, and I would write until nothing wanted to be written anymore. And finally, I remember one day I was in Phoenix. I was at a Chipotle of all places. I opened up my computer to go write, and the book told me, you're done. And that was one of the greatest feelings. I was like, yes, now the editing process. And I went through the editing process and, organized the sequence of events of things that people were going to read through. And so my book really is structurally a combination of my life story, metaphors, quotes, and different tools and processes that help me come out of limitation along the way. And so what you're going to learn in this mastermind, in this 126 days, is how to structure your book in a way that makes it easy to write and easy to read. Because one of the biggest things that gets in the way of people actually writing their book is the illusion of perfection, the idea that they've got to get their book perfect. And I actually want to show you something. So if you look at my book, it's not perfect. In fact, I've already noticed certain mistakes, and this was the proof version before it actually became real. And so you can see that it's not perfect. It's not your traditional book. It's got white space, it's got big font, and I wanted to make it, create it in a way that was easy for people to read. This guy sent me a message on Facebook the other day. He said, George, I've never read a book from start to finish ever, but last night I just could not put your book down. And he said something like, let me pull up the Facebook message, because that's actually going to be kind of fun. So I'll just read it to you. He says, George, I finished your book last night, and I don't think I have ever finished a book in one evening. I could not put it down. It's rocking my world, and I feel this creative edge being unlocked and released like a pack of wild dogs. And then in parentheses, he says, who let the dogs out? And then he says, LOL, physically, I will not be able to be at your book release party. However, energetically, I am there. Thanks for being a badass you be. I wonder what awesomeness will happen next. With much gratitude, and then the person's name. I won't share it because I'm not sure if I have their permission. But I wanted to share that with you because my book's not perfect. You know, there are some imperfections in it. And the energy that I want to invite you to step into with this 126-day book creation mastermind is that, like, let's let go of thinking that it has to be perfect. Let's let go of thinking that it has to be a traditional book that goes through the traditional process. You know, I found my editor through an email that I sent out to my list that had some mistakes in it, and he sent me back an email with all the corrections. I said, hey, you want to edit my book? And he ended up editing my book. And so all the resources will fall into place once you make that decision, because once you make the decision and you step into action, that's when the universal forces start to go to work, and you start to receive the insight, the ideas, the concepts, the people, whatever's required for your book to now be published. So take a moment and feel that feeling. Like, imagine your book in your hand. So I'll just hold mine because I'm just absolutely in love with it. But hold your book in your hand, like energetically, grab it and feel it. Like, feel the book, feel the texture, feel the cover, feel yourself flooding through the pages like this, reading your words on the page, and just feel it. Like, there's no feeling like it, having a physical version of an expression, a beautiful expression of you that's now out into the world, impacting other people's lives. One thing that really helped me just say yes to writing my book, just to say, screw it, I'm doing it, was I read a book that was absolutely influential in my life. And what I noticed is that I noticed some misspellings. And I also noticed some grammar errors. And this was a published book by some really well-known people. And it helped get into my mind that it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it won't be perfect. And in fact, I don't think you even want to aim towards perfection. Like, we will create what we're capable of creating now. And your book, when you launch it, will be an expression of who you are now. When you do another book in a year or in 2 years, when you launch another book, that book will simply be an expression of who you are then. If you write a book in 5 years, that book will be an expression of who you are then. And so my invitation to you is, let's let go of the perfection, right? Let's get ourselves inside of a community, a global community of other people who are running this race together. And I'm going to be running it with you. So there are 5 primary excuses that people use who are wannabe authors that prevent them from being published authors. The first, actually we've talked about a few of them. The first one is perfection. They think it has to be perfect. They think every single word, every single sentence, every single paragraph has to fit some sort of mold that society has set up that said this is the perfect book. But what if that's not the case? What if it doesn't have to be perfect? What if you can write any book you want however you want to create it? And it's up to you how you want to do that. The second one is that you don't have anything important to say. Consider this, that you the being, you the who has experienced this life, the combination of knowledge, experiences, wisdom, and awareness that you have as a unique individual being doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet. Think about that. The combination of knowledge, experiences, wisdom, and awareness that you have as an individual doesn't exist on the planet. What that means is there are some people who are going to hear your message. There's some people who are actually probably waiting for it. There are some people who won't. And you're not writing for the entire world. You're only writing for those people who are going to hear your message. Like, the third thing that keeps people from becoming published authors is the fear of being judged or the fear of being seen. Like, this is really putting yourself out there in a big way. And it's scary. I get it. It's scary to say, you know what, this is my story. You know, these are the limitations that I had. This is me being totally vulnerable and totally transparent. But that's the freedom piece of it. That's the journey, the adventure of becoming free, of being willing to be judged, being willing to be seen. I can't tell you how many different emails I received from people who are like, you know, who are you to say that you were homeless when you weren't really homeless? And I got all these judgments and I got all these opinions of what people thought. But the truth is, I knew in my heart that nobody knows what I went through during that experience except for me. And I held true to that. And that's why this book is such a gift for me and anybody who reads it, because I know that there's a special message inside there for the people who are willing to read it. And same with you, my friend. It's like you've got a message. You've got a certain knowledge and experiences that nobody else has in the combination that you have it. Think about it this way. Nobody knows what you know like you know it. The fourth thing that gets in the way of people becoming published authors is no support system. Like, it's no fun to write alone. It's no fun to sit, in the dark room, in the cold room, writing alone, hoping somebody's gonna read your book someday. That's not fun. What was fun for me is like connecting with other authors and other people and getting ideas and getting strategies and holding each other accountable. There's no support system. This 126-day program is gonna invite you to be connected to a group of people who are like running this race and willing to cross the finish line with you. You're gonna have a whole team. I mean, imagine a whole team of people, a group of people from all over the world who are running the race with you. Imagine having to run a marathon by yourself. Isn't it fun running with other people? So come run with us. And the support system that's in place is going to be phenomenal. I'm going to be bringing in experts, guest experts who are editing experts, guest experts who are marketing experts, guest experts, man, say that 5 times fast, guest experts who are publishing experts, guest experts who are book cover design experts, bio, how do you write your biography? All of that is going to be encompassed in this program. So you have everything you need at your fingertips to literally become a published author. And the fifth and final thing that I noticed that what gets in the way of people becoming published authors is the excuse of, I don't know how. How do you publish a book? Well, I hate to tell you, my friend, when you sign up for this program, that eliminates and erases that excuse, because it's a full-on suite of what you need in order to go from start and break through the finish line to publish your book. It's going to have everything that you need and all the resources that you require to take your book from the concept and the idea or the unfinished version that it is now through the finish line. The next thing is that we're going to be using CreateSpace as our primary publishing platform. The reason why is because it's connected directly to Amazon and Kindle, so your book automatically, when it's published, will be uploaded to Amazon and Kindle, and that's how I had my book launch. So CreateSpace is a complete suite, a publishing suite that gives you everything you need, including your ISBN number if you require. It's that little number with the barcodes on it. It has everything that you need from start to finish. So that's the primary publishing platform we're going to be using. And I'm also going to invite different other resources that if you don't want to use CreateSpace, you'll have those resources available to you. The next thing that we're going to take a look at, and the next resource that we're going to make sure that you have, is accountability. So I talked about the MAG, the Mastermind Accountability Group. You're going to have a group of 3 to 5 people that you're connected with from all around the world who are on your little team. It's like your little accountability group, holding each other accountable, encouraging each other, empowering each other to write consistently, and giving each other ideas. And later in this video, I'm going to talk about you're going to be meeting with them literally in your own teleconference group once a month. Also, we're going to have a lot of different calls. In fact, there are 15 different calls set up throughout the 126 days. And part of those calls are designed to help you move through the internal blocks, because we all know that they're going to show up. Once you make the choice now to write your book, to publish your book, the internal demons are going to show up, the barriers, the limitations, the fears are going to show up. So we're going to use some really powerful processing tools that allow you to move past and move through those internal fears that show up along the way, because they inevitably will. Next, you're going to be part of a global mastermind group, a global Facebook private mastermind group where you can ask questions, you can share frustrations if you want, you can share ideas, you can share insights, and that you can go to get help to make sure that you're consistently writing your book. And again, I use the word consistency because it's the thing that if you're willing to do in this group, you'll have a published book. And the final resource that we'll have for you are guest expert trainers. So like I said earlier, we're going to bring in experts who are specially designed to give you the information that you need in certain areas, like publishing, like book cover design, like bio, like marketing, like book launching. So you're going to have a lot of guest speakers throughout our time together so that you have the information and the resources that you need to become a published author now. So the complete call schedule is actually already set up. If you scroll down about halfway, you're going to see every single call that you're going to be going through, all 15 of them, and specifically what we're going to be focusing on in that call. So all the details are already lined up for you. Really, my friend, it's all a matter of you just choosing it. And I designed this program in a way that made it irresistible for people, that made it really easy for people to say yes. In fact, I was talking with my mentor about this program, and she was telling me, she's like, George, you're going to be with people for 4 months. That's 1/3 of a year. I'm like, yeah, I can do the math. Hello. And she said, you've got to charge a premium for this. You've got to be willing to charge at least a couple of $1,000s for this program. And I said that there's something off about that, because I want everyone to be able to have access to the container that we're creating together so that we can run together. I want everybody to have access to it. And she's like, you at least got to charge $1,000 for it. And I said, there's something off about that. She's like, George, you can't go any lower than $1,000. I said, okay, I'll charge $1,000 for it, but here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open the door early for people who wanna get in, and I wanna reward people who are willing to take action right now and get in early. And so there's gonna be an early bird pricing through October 10th for $4.95. Now, literally, that's less than $4 a day when you break it down. So, and then I told her, I was like, okay, after that, then it's gonna be $9.95. All right, but I've got to reward the people who are willing to take action first, because I want to fill this thing and I want to run with 50 people through the finish line, because I'm going to be running right along with you, creating my own book with you. And it's actually, if you haven't read this book, it's actually the sequel to this, which is kind of cool. So anyway, that's the breakdown of this 126-day program. I've made sure and looked at all the little details to fine-tune it and make sure that you have all the different resources that you need in order to literally become a published author. And how fun would it be? Again, imagine holding your book. Imagine being at a speaking engagement and you have your book to sell. Imagine utilizing your book as a way to get on TV or radio interviews. Imagine having your physical book impact people's lives in a way that you know is possible, but you just hadn't taken the action until now. And that's the magic, my friend. Like, this is a transformational process to write your own book, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be all fluffy kittens and butterflies and rainbows and unicorns. It's going to be challenging. There's going to be demons that show up. There's going to be things that show up, limitations and fears that get, not like real demons. I'm not talking about like Lucifer. Lucifer isn't going to show up and, stop you from writing your book, but you will have those internal blocks that show up inevitably, those fears, those limitations. And just the process of writing the book is so transformational, and I want you to have that feeling, because that feeling, there's nothing like it, and when you have it, it's going to change your entire life and your business. So it's up to you. If you're feeling the tug, if you're feeling the pull, if you are leaning in and saying, yeah, you know what, it's time I write my book. If you're one of those people, and I know there's a lot of people out there, then maybe this program is for you. If you've ever said, God, I really want to write a book, and you're at that point right now, maybe it's time. If you've ever said, I got like 38 books in me, I got 38 and a half books in me, then maybe now is the time. So we're going to go from October 15th all the way through February 18th. It's 18 weeks of consistency, 18 weeks of accountability, 18 weeks of empowerment, 18 weeks of encouragement, 18 weeks of breaking through all the limitations that are going to be in your way, and a bunch of us running together from start all the way through the finish line together. So it's up to you. Only you know if this is the right program for you. And if you are leaning into it and stepping into it and saying yes to it right now, I look forward to running with you. All right, my friend, scroll down, read the information, contact me if you have any questions about the program, and I look forward to running with you. Take good care.